Rachel Taylor here from the Property Nomads. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use our deal calculator to work out some numbers to ensure that you do in fact have a property deal. So let's get started. It's a really simple and easy spreadsheet to use, and all we've done here is to make sure that we have our two exit strategies covered when we're looking at a property purchase. So over here under the list price, this is where you'll pop in the number that the vendor is asking for the property, or if it's on the market currently with an agent. So you'll just pop in the number here. For this example, I've used that the list price is 80,000 and I've agreed a purchase price of 60,000. In this grey box just above, it's already calculated that it's 25% below market value using these two numbers. When we do our numbers for the Property Nomads, we have certain figures that we like to stick with to protect our investors and to make sure that we are in fact actually giving them a deal that is worthy of their numbers. So we always presume that the loan to value is around 75%. Now, I'm well aware that people can get 80, sometimes 85%, but it's always best to stress test your numbers as best you can. So for this example, and if you're just getting started in property, I suggest that you keep that number at 75% loan to value. It's shown me here that my deposit needed for a purchase price of 60,000 is 15,000, and I've popped in the numbers 20,000 for a refurb and my other costs here. It's already calculated for me my stamp duty cost, which is 1,800, and I've popped in here what our sourcing fee would be for this particular deal. In total, this is just under £42,000 to purchase the property. Another thing that's really important is to make sure that you're calculating the costs that you're going to incur or the investor's going to incur whilst the property is empty. For this, we are presuming that we have a mortgage rate here of 3.5%. Usually when I'm stress testing the numbers, I'll pop in 5%, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to keep it at 3.5%. So it's told me now that an interest rate of 3.5% for the mortgage, my mortgage costs, if the property was empty for say 8 months, would be around £1,000. If I change that to 3 months, it's just under £400. So you're going to pop in here how many months you predict the property to be empty for and how much mortgage payments the investor is going to have to pay while the property is running empty. And that gives you a total here. We also do the same for the utilities, and depending where you are in the UK, you're just going to put in the average prices here. And again, how many months that the property is predicted to be empty for, and that gives you a total. So this number here gives you the grand total of how much investment is needed to buy the property, to do the property up, and whilst the property is empty, what the running costs are. Jumping over here now to when the property is refinanced, we input our figure here of the done up value of what we anticipate that price to be. Obviously you would have done your due diligence, so you will know what that number is or should be close to. So you'll pop that in there, and again our loan to value is 75%. So all you need to really understand about these numbers is how much equity is in the deal and how much money is staying in the deal, or if it's a money in, money out. So in this example, you can see that there's just over £3,000 left in this particular property purchase. So if I jump over to our buy-to-let metrics, which are just down here, you'll see that the return on investment on the money that's left in of just over £3,000 is actually 78%, which is a whopping number. And I'm sure you'll agree that would be a fantastic deal for an investor. But that's not just the only numbers that we consider when we're looking at a property deal for our investors. We also make sure that we've got our two exit strategies covered. So the first exit strategy would be that the property would make some profit if we had to quickly sell it on and not rent it out. So over here in the flip box, you can see that if we had to sell it through an agent and they charged us 1.5%, what that number would be, and how much it would cost to sell it through, obviously getting the conveyancing done through the solicitor. And if we were to sell it at the done up value of 113,000, our profit would be £21,000 or just under £22,000. This ticks our flip strategy box because we always say that if a property would profit over £10,000, then it is a deal. So as you can see in this example, it's just under £22,000, so that ticks that box. And you can see that our ROI is over 50% and our gross development value profit is just under 20% there. So that ticks our flip exit strategy, that we've got our profit of over 21,000 here. We're not leaving too much money in, and the money that we are leaving in, it's going to take just over a year to pay that back with the cash flow that we're going to be getting if we rent it out, and the ROI is very healthy. So jumping over to the cash flow, we will just put in here what we predict the rental will be. Again, the mortgage rate, how much the letting agent is going to charge for managing the property. Again, it's up to you how you do your numbers. Usually we stress test at 12% here, which will give us a number. So I'm just using 10% as this particular example, but always stress test your numbers as best you can. Using 5% for your mortgage and 15% as your estate agency rate, depending on where you are in the world. Monthly operating costs, again, depending on the strategy. If it's a buy-to-let HMO, that's going to be different. But again, you should be using 12% as a buy-to-let example. That then gives us our actual cash flow when all of these costs are taken into account. So it ticks our cash flow box because it's over £150 profit every month after all our costs. So that is how we work out our deal calculator and how we use it. One thing just to note is that anything in the grey boxes is automatically calculated for you, so please don't change those boxes, and I hope that's made it clear on how to use our deal calculator.